Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. Today I decided that it would be interesting to pull out a couple of comics that I like, that I really like the stories for. They are from the New Teen Titans 1980 series by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. And that series was remarkable because I was actually saving DC from becoming irrelevant, especially at the time when the X-Men comics were doing really well over at Marvel, and that team dynamic was what was going on and stuff. And Marv Wolfman and George Perez saw what was going on there, and they did a similar type style that, while having their own unique parts, of course, ended up being a great series. This series ran for 40 issues before it was renamed Tales of the New Teen Titans, and shortly thereafter, a second New Teen Titans series started, and the Tales of the New Teen Titans ran until issue 97. But the two books I want to look at today both won awards for comics in the early 80s. Um, and in one case, in the first case, actually beat out an X-Men book. Not by much, apparently, if you hear what they say about the scores. But for 1982, this was the number one story. And this is New Teen Titans 20. My copy is signed by George Perez himself. And I hope someday to meet Marv Wolfman so I can get the book signed. One of the reasons I had George Perez sign this book, is apart from the fact that it was an award-winning book, is that the second story, there's a small six page second story to it, and it takes place on Earth Prime, which back then was the real world, like our world. And Marv Wolfman and George Perez were two of the characters in the story. So, and George actually remembered that, of course, when I brought this book over, when I said to him, "Do you know why I want you to sign this one?" He goes, "Probably because I'm in it." He was a nice man. I'm sad that he's gone. So, without further ado, let's do a quick synopsis of the book. Okay, this is cover dated June 1982, and as I said, it won awards for writing and art. Actually, I think it won. I think it won Best Story for 1982, and so the story takes place written as an epistle book. And for those that don't know what that means, it means in the style of someone writing a letter to someone else. Okay? And in this book, it's Wally West who's writing, who's the Kid Flash, who is writing the letter to his parents. Now, when it comes to identities and stuff, I tend to flip back and forth between the person's real name and the person's superhero name. I hope that you know everybody. I'll try to use both names at the same time the first time they come up. But if not and you're confused, just let me know in the comments below. I am making an assumption here that in some cases that you guys know the characters. Okay, so Flash is starting writing. He's thinking, before he writes the letter, he has this big thought pattern about thinking about what it means to be normal. And of course, he's not normal anymore because he has superpowers, right? So he decides to write and expand upon that by telling his parents the following story in the letter. Cyborg and Changeling, that's Vic Stone and Garfield Logan, are in the sewers chasing a villain known as the Disruptor. Changeling finds the Disruptor, and the Disruptor manages to use his powers to return Garfield back to his normal human form. At the time that he made the change, he was, in an animal form, and he was able to disrupt his powers. Ergo, the Disruptor. So, after he does that, and Garfield still is coming towards him, the Disruptor uses his power to affect Gar's blood. So the Changeling is now going, because his blood is being disrupted, his flow is being done, and he's basically passed out. And he's in a lot of pain, and he's screaming, and it's through that scream that Cyborg is able to find him. in the sewers after he flew. He was in a bat form flying around, but when he found the disruptor, so he finally catches up to him, and the disruptor, after Cyborg threatens him because he's giving pain to the changeling. The disruptor uses his powers in on Cyborg's parts, and sure enough, Cyborg falls into the water because his stuff isn't working. So what happens next is they return to the Titans Tower and they report to Robin and the rest of the team. Robin is in the middle of a crisis of confidence because he just spent time with the Batman. Apparently, every time he goes to see Batman, he comes back feeling like a kid again. Just a minor point, but still something that is something that sort of shows itself throughout the Titans run until Dick Grayson. By the way, if I'm pretty sure everybody knows who Robin is, but until he becomes Nightwing later in the Tales of the Teen Titans, he has these doubts as long as he's Robin. Okay. The next section is a surprise party that they throw for Victor for his 19th birthday. Everybody's hanging around, but Donna's sad because she doesn't know who she is, and therefore she doesn't know when her birthday is. And her boyfriend Terry Long, the guy who looks like the really bad 1980s. People call him the porn star guy. He sits there and he's comforting her, where Wally makes a comment about how writing this letter is helping sort out his problems. And while he's there at the party, he decides to go outside for a breath of fresh air. He picks up a pair of binoculars, and through the binoculars, he sees that Donna has decided to go on a bit of a patrol as the Wonder Girl. And as she's heading back to Titan's Tower, she is suddenly hit out of the blue, and he happens to see that the disruptor has hit her, and she's fallen into the Hudson Bay there, or whatever they call that area in front of New York. Sure enough, boom, you know, Wally decides he's going to go fight him, and the disruptor manages to disrupt Wally's. He's sending a cyclone, like doing that fast thing that he and the Flash do to send the whale of air. Well, he disrupts that, and he manages to disrupt Wally's speed enough that Wally falls into the water because he's no longer got the momentum to stay upon the water. So the next thing he got the disruptors all proud of himself because he thinks he's killed two Titans, and he goes to the car that's waiting for him, and inside the car is his father. His father is a guy by the name of Brains Belden, who has fought Batman before and is trying to become a member of the Hive. And the Hive is one of these groups that bad guys who's basically been fighting against the Titans their whole run, right from issue 3 or 4. They were brought in first, and they've been fighting them ever since. Actually, right from the beginning, because the Terminator was sent by the Hive, if I remember correctly. So right there, that's new Teen Titans too. So Wally manages to pull Donna out of the water, and he sees the car leaving. So he manages to follow behind, just out of sight with his vibrational powers, and he follows them back to Belden's place. Wally overhears about the Hive, and that's how we find out. And in which at which point then Wally breaks into the house, and the disruptor manages to use his powers to stop Wally again. This time they've tied him up, and but not tight enough that Wally is still able to get his fingers going, and he sends a sonic boom signal through the air to the Titan's tower, thus alerting the Titans that he's been captured. And sure enough, they are managed to figure out where he is, and they come in and attack as one. Disruption is thrown off at first, and then when the father, who doesn't like him at all, calls him an idiot, calls him useless, that kind of stuff, tells him that use the damn suit. What do you think I got it for? The disruptor manages to stop 6 Titans. He takes out Kid Flash, Robin, Wonder Girl, Starfire, Changeling, and Cyborg. But the seventh, Raven, does not get hit by the disruptor. And she is actually able to use her powers with her soul self, and manage to defeat the disruptor by showing him some very nasty things. And they win the fight. Then Wally goes on about, but sure, the fight is over and we won the day, but it was the part afterwards that really affected him. Basically, the dad going to prison, because I guess the dad is out and didn't have to go. The dad going to the prison to tell his son he never wants to see him again, that he's a failure and a loser and all that stuff. This has really, really affects Wally, and this is why he's writing the letter in the first place. So at the end of the story, he's finished the letter and he's put it in the envelope. And Robin stops by and asks, says he's going into Manhattan. Is anything you want? You want me to mail that letter? Wally says, you know what? I'll go deliver it myself. And he runs off. And that's the end of the story. And I think that it was actually a very, for considering it's a 18-page story, that, you know, I think it was well written. Marv Wolfman can write. George Perez also, contributed the plots. And Perez, of course, his art is just absolutely magnificent. This, I could see why this story won awards. It is probably the best one of the best stories of the first 20 issues. And comic book awards were, I want to say, brand new, late 70s, early 80s. So the guidelines on what they're going to win and how they're going to win were not fully realized at the time. So I hate to take it with a grain of salt, because 1983's winner was also a DC book. It was Detective Comics 500. And that was a completely different type of story. And yet, again, it was one of the best, and it won. It's interesting how Marvel outsold DC, but for a 5-year period, DC won 4 out of the 5 best story awards. And then at this point, I think the Eisners came along and all this kind of stuff was gone. So that's what I'm saying. I couldn't find the name of the award it won. I just know that and this story that's about to come up to the same thing also won. Okay. The second book that I'm going to cover today is The New Teen Titans 38. Who is Donna Troy? This is a cover date of January 1984. Now, George did not do the cover. He did part of the cover, but he didn't do all of it. I think Romeo Tangal had done the cover, because he had also done it. He's credited on the book, and there's usually not too many credits. I should have looked this up before I did my notes, but sometimes I forget things. Anyway, this book here, hands down, probably the best book where you see Robin's detective skills in most of history, until at least he had got his own, at least until he got his own book as Nightwing. This is probably the one that shows how well Robin works on his own. So let us go, without further ado, into the storyline. Dick is approached by Terry Long, who wants to hire him to find out about Donna's past, because it's driving Donna crazy that she doesn't know anything about her past. All she remembers is that she was a kid in a burning building that was rescued by Wonder Woman, at which point she was brought to Paradise Island, and she was brought up there basically as Wonder Woman's sister by Queen Hippolyta. And she got powers there when the Amazons used the purple ray on her to each give them a small part of their own powers. You multiply that by 1,000, boom, and she's just as powerful as Wonder Woman. Donna gives her okay for Dick to look into her past when they talk about it, because it's driving her crazy. So they begin looking. They go back to the building where this fire was and Donna was rescued by Wonder Woman. It is basically still decrepit because this building had burned down when its furnace exploded. But Robin managed to he brought the blueprints to the building, so he's able to see things that Donna was never able to find before. And sure enough, he found a secret coal bin. Inside there was a little package, and inside that package was a doll with Donna on it. Donna strangely remembers the doll, so they take it along, and Dick does a whole bunch of stuff to it, like CSI style, and he discovers writing on it that says "Made with love, fixed with love by Uncle Max." Clue number one. So he goes to this Uncle Max because there was an address on there, and he discovers that he's still alive and that he's still doing it. He's a toy maker, and Uncle Max tells him that he used to repair the toys for the local orphanage, for the kids there because they had nobody else, and he felt helpful that way. So sure enough, he tells Dick the name of the orphanage and about how the place was shut down because of a crooked lawyer doing a child scheme, but that the woman running the orphanage was not part of the scam, and therefore she was never charged or done anything. And as a result of his asking around, a man comes towards Dick in his hotel room to tell him that he was the former gardener of the orphanage, and he tells Dick where he can find Ellery, who was the woman who ran the orphanage. She's now in an old age home. She is very old and very frail. And so Dick and Donna go to Florida, where she is, to visit her. Dick shows her the doll, and that triggers Ellery's memory, and they find out a few things. One, they find out that Donna is her real name, so she's always born Donna, and that she tells her the story of her mother, how her mother was a very young teenage mother who, on top of having had a baby, was fighting cancer and dying from it and had to give the baby away. She also mentions that she was adopted by a Mr. and Mrs. Stacy. So, on their way back to New York, they're driving back. There is in Virginia when all of a sudden something hits Donna as, "Oh my God, I remember this neighborhood." Sure enough, she stops in front of a house that she seems to remember as triggering a memory of some sort. And she starts staring at a woman who is out raking leaves with her family. The woman stares back and makes the realization she was Donna's adoptive mother. She was Mrs. Stacy. And basically, we get the story about how she had to give Donna up because the crooked lawyer had told her, well, when her first husband had died, that she can't feed Donna properly, so she has to give her back. But the lawyer was only doing this to get a child back to sell. And that the couple that died in the fire were a couple that the lawyer gave the baby to that was going to sell her. So they were the middlemen. Dick finds out that last part by as Robin going to the jail and talking to the lawyer. And so basically, that is the end. That basically things broke up, and he got caught when the lawyer got caught doing it when the place burned down, and records were starting to see because they had did an arson investigation in the building, and that brought the lawyer's stuff to light. Anyway, so Donna ends the book knowing who she is, what's happened in her past, knowing finally knowing like her birthday, I'm sure, and all that other stuff, which is a throwback, by the way, to the other story. That's why I popped that in there. Basically, the book ends with Dick, proud of himself. He's done everything he can for Donna, and he doesn't want to be alone, and he calls Starfire for a booty call, as I call it. So that is who is Donna Troy. Again, I think it's well written. Marv Wolfman really put the stops together for that one. I can see again why it won an award in 1984. What's weird, it didn't apply to the 83 stories because even though it was published in 83 because of the cover date. The cover date apparently determined the awards, which is why Detective Comics 500 won 1983's. By the way, Days of Future Past won for the X-Men, the same award. Um, I just don't remember what year it was. If you, in case you're wondering where Marvel was all during all this. So basically, these two books were why examples of why I liked the Teen Titans so much, and why I still collect the run, why I keep the run, and on occasion I still read these two, especially this one, because this one just brings a smile to my face as I watch Dick use his powers. Oh, his detective powers. I mean, we all know he doesn't have real powers. Anyway, if you like what I've done today, please like, subscribe, comment below. If there's a new Teen Titans book you think is better than these two, by all means, feel free to comment below. Discussion is what we're all about. Teaching is what we're all about. Sharing love of comics is really what we're all about. And I just want everybody to know that, there are so many stories out there. And everybody has their own favorites. But I would like you to at least give these two a shot if you can. I didn't tell you everything. There was some significant, well, I told you a lot, but I didn't tell you everything about the stories. I tried to keep some surprises out there for you to discover on your own. Anyway, my name's Matt, and I like comics. And I hope you do too. Thanks for joining me today.